Embrace it or erase it. Choir warm-ups. 3, 2, 1. Embrace it.
Embrace it and erase it if you need to.
Ooh, clarify.
You need to clarify.
Please.
I haven't warmed up my top choir in like 5 years, but I'm not against it at all. It just, we've got other things to do, and they know how to sing. And the top choir has a double block, so they sing right before, and so they're warm. So I will I'll make a warm up for a specific thing in a song that I don't want to spend a bunch of time on.
When you say double blocks, can you clarify what you mean by double blocks?
Everyone who's in chamber, which is the group that was at SWACTA, that is their elected choir. They don't work on sight reading in there. They don't go to UIL contests. They just make music, but they all have to be in a primary core choir class based on their sight reading ability, and that's where they learn how to read music.
Now, how long are these blocks?
We're on a A/B day schedule, so each class period is 90 minutes. And the older kids have their core choir back to back with chamber, so they're in there for 3 hours doing different music. But there's freshmen in there who are in JV treble or JV men with the beginning kids learning how to read music as 14-year-olds. They just have glorious voices, so they're in chamber. With the JV kids, if you don't warm them up, you're almost wasting time because they don't really know how to go off the street and into class and sing automatically. They don't know how to just sit down and sing. They have to learn how to use their instrument. But a lot of my choirs that I teach now I have an assistant. We just aren't warming up. It kind of like, honestly, kind of tires them out when they're singing rep that's so expansive. But it's important when they don't know how to sing or when they're building.
Yeah, like as a middle school choir director, like I'm going to warm them up, but like sometimes I'm guilty of warming up way too long. And my colleague and I, we've talked about this a lot. Like sometimes we warm up for way too long. I know sometimes we'll like set a time limit for our first hour choir. We'll be like, okay, 4-minute warm up today. And Danny like set an alarm on his watch for 4 minutes and we're done after 4 minutes or whatever.
For me, it just depends on the purpose of it. So like I'm all about front loading things, right? So if I'm front loading some material or some concepts that I want to reinforce later, then I mean, by all means, I say take as long as you need to do if it's productive and it's on task. If it's like, mommy made me mash my M&M stuff like verbatim just over and over again, then I'd say, yeah, that's not very effective.
You waste that crap.
For sure. I mean, for us, it's more so just getting distracted. I think we just get distracted. Like today, talking about blood types for a long time. That was called Distraction 101.
Using ChatGPT to connect different blood types to different voices in the choir.
Yeah, that's just called time wasting, which is also important. Here we go. Next
it was
one.
Beautiful.
Embrace it or erase it. Ready? Music stands in rehearsal. 3, 2, 1.
Erase it.
Erase.
I don't like it.
Adrian, what say you?
Yeah, I'm on the God, I don't want to say embrace it and erase it every time. But there are exceptions.
But yeah, I mean, I embrace it sometimes, but like what is your go-to? What would be your go-to?
None.
Okay, yeah. So that's my go-to as well. So explain why you'd say none.
Yeah, none, because typically the music stands are not being used so that they can have great posture and so that they can keep their arms loose and free. They're being used to like hold their phone and stuff. They're being used to like low-key kind of slouch. It just unless they're in performance mode, music stands for me are acceptable in a really long rehearsal where they're singing stiff as a board. And I just need more from them. Or if they're not watching, that's a big one. Like if they're just straight up not watching me and we're not memorized yet, I need them to see me and maybe not be memorized yet. It's really hard to do that when they're physically holding something. But typically they just want the stand because they want to like do this or whatever. I definitely don't use stands when there's chairs.
Yeah. Well, I think another good reason to use a stand would be like during a recording session or something, and like have towels on the stands and like flip your music gently and everything like that. I've seen a lot of people do that. And I
That's a
think,
good idea.
yeah, because that way you don't have to be memorized for the recording session, and that way if you have something to deaden the sound of the turning of the pages. I don't even like I don't like using a music stand because I feel like it blocks me a little bit from the choir. And also, I feel like I have to stay in one place. Like, if I'm teaching, especially with middle school, I want to be roaming around. I have my iPad in my hand. I don't want to be like behind a stand the whole time. And then I noticed at SWACTA, you didn't use music as you were conducting, right? I don't like
Mm-mm.
I don't like using music while conducting either. Obviously, like it's sometimes hard to have everything memorized, but like for a big
Mhm.
performance like SWACTA or something, it's nice to not have that in front of you, and just be
Yeah.
able to become one with your ensemble as well.
Yeah, I need to. I get really, really crippling stage fright, and unless like I have to know for
I don't
sure, I have
believe
to have
this.
lots
I'm
of
sorry. I
at-bats.
don't believe
Oh,
it. You said trip calligraphy. I don't believe this. No, you're gonna have to.
rewatch,
No, you're.
rewatch. Oh my God, you would be stunned. Rewatch videos and see what happens when a song is over. What it is that I'm actually doing. I'm like, I just want to get out of the way. I would love to just run off stage, have everyone clap, and then just sneak back on there. But I hate the moment where I look at the audience is where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm back. The I won't with the stage fright thing. I won't go for memory for the sake of being memorized. I just prefer to not have the music because my hands will hit the stand, like my arms flap. I have a giant wingspan, and like my hand will hit the music stand. It just will.
You move quite a
But
bit while you conduct, just a little bit.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to really back off, but I won't ever be memorized. I won't ever go off book unless it's completely subconsciously ingrained, like really, really, really ingrained.
Sure.
Which typically does just happen with an invited choir set because we work on it since August. But at stage concerts, I might have a piece where I use my music, and it's just because like I'm too nervous to guess where we are in the song or whatever.
Mhm.
But in general, yeah, uh, I require a lot of space to to do what I do comfortably.
Okay, next one. Embrace it or erase it. Practice tracks. 3, 2, 1. Embrace.
Embrace
Embrace.
it.
Oh my God, embrace all the way.
Yes, absolutely. If I can make a more efficient rehearsal by students like adequately knowing the music, and of course you want to encourage them to sight read and engage and also fall on their faces, and I think that's totally healthy. But push come to shove, like I want to use the classroom time to make something significant happen, not say, here's the note, make sure you're doing the note. Like, and given, of course, like I said, you want them to sight read, but what are your thoughts?
I have noticed that if I want to be a little lax on the resources I provide them, then I am increasing the effort required of me in rehearsal, and I'm decreasing the overall quality of the performance. Like that's just what that is. So if I create a ton of resources, the more resources I create for at-home practice, not just practice tracks, but like a practice plan. Listen to section A 3 times without singing, then sing along with the lady, section A. Then record yourself, section A. Compare for glitches. If you make a glitch, rehearse just this section, like really, really break it down. And if I want to go through all that, then I will reap the rewards, but that stuff takes time. So it has to be worth it.
I was almost about to say erase it just because of all the time it takes to record them. Because like my plan time, I have the junior high band practicing in the choir room, so it's not an easy time to be able to, it's not possible to go out there and record because the band's playing, which I'm fine with it being out there, but it's just I don't like doing it after school or at home or anything like that. But it's so beneficial. So I mean, if you're able to like pay for people to make the practice tracks for you, ooh,
We're not going to say your name unless you give us an endorsement, though. You know who you are.
endorse us.
I got a guy, and we have not done chamber, chorale. Like my top choirs have not done a single piece since 2021, fall of 2020. without having this particular guy make us a track, and they're phenomenal. And this, I just load them up with requests like measure 2 rubato, measure 3 beat 2, add a metronome tick because it's a half note and I want them to feel that upbeat or whatever. And he locks and loads it, and it's $50 per song. Like it's, I mean, I spent more on Raising Cane's for 3. And it doesn't matter how hard the song is. And then I've got some good singing kids. Now, when I say making practice tracks, I mean like I have him record the piano, and then I'll slice and dice it in GarageBand, and then I'll make like section A, 50% speed, 75% speed. But I'm never singing. My singing voice is not something I really want the kids to model. Like a lot of them sing a lot better than I do. So I'll have a really great singer record them with me, like a good alto that I have, or a good soprano that I have, a good bass, and then someone else plays piano. And I'm just kind of like a mayor of a small, complicated town.